Hello everyone, welcome to another one of Matthew Mackenzie's video blog or vlogs, in which some can call them. I have not done a video blog for some time due to just moving back to try and help care for my loved one, and it's not been easy. But anyway, on the 12th of August, 6 PM 2014, at the Croydon Voluntary Action building over in Croydon, I managed to attend a celebratory event from HearUs Reach Out Challenge. Now 18 months has passed since they began their anti-stigma project in Croydon, and on that day they showcased and celebrated the end of that project. Before I go on to more about what happened on that day, what is Reach Out Challenge all about? Well, the HearUs Reach Out Challenge project is funded by Time to Change, England's biggest programme to end the stigma and discrimination faced by people with mental health problems. Now, the program is run by charities Mind and Rethink Mental Illness and funded by the Department of Health and Comic Relief. Now, HearUs is Croydon's mental health service user group, which acts as a coordinating body to facilitate and ensure service user involvement in the planning, delivery and monitoring of mental health services in Croydon, helping to improve the quality of the services commissioned and delivered in Croydon's objectives. Now, HearUs aims to do two of the following, which is to relieve the needs of people living in the London Borough of Croydon and surrounding areas who have mental health problems by provision of services and advice. The other one is to advance education, note that keyword education, about mental health for the public benefit in the London Borough of Croydon and surrounding areas, with the object of creating awareness and reducing the stigma attached to mental health. You can find out more about the project at their website, which is www.hear-us.org. Now, I've been to quite a few of their open forums and events, and this one was a special celebration of all the work they have done so far. So I don't think it's the end of the project. It's just that they wanted to celebrate the 18 months that they've been working on the project so far. So what happened at the event on the 12th of August 2014? Well, first of all, we had a warm welcome from Jane White, who is the project manager of HearUs. Now, Jane White talked about why and how she began on the idea of the project, especially coming from a background of anxiety from work-related stress. There was a number of reasons why the project was so important for those suffering mental health stress and stigma discrimination. There is a lack of mental health awareness out there, especially in the workplace. Now, Jane White mentioned all the work HearUs has been involved in, and she was very thankful of all the volunteers who have worked and helped on the HearUs project during the past 18 months. The past work and involvement HearUs undertook all those months were shown as slideshows off the wall, and I must say I was very impressed by the graphical displays and all the hard work HearUs has done over in the London Borough of Croydon. We then had a presentation from Dr. Ray Johansson Chapman, who is the strategic lead for patient public involvement for South London and Maudsley Foundation Trust. And his presentation was on an introduction to stigma. Now, although the presentation was around 10 minutes, I thought this presentation was quite suited for the event and quite powerful and at times a personal in-depth view of mental health stigma in today's society. It is still prevalent, unfortunately, mental health stigma in today's society, and Dr. Ray explained what mental health stigma is and where it came from. And I will list some of these explanations out just to give you some idea of where mental health stigma can come from, and those being beliefs, employers, fear, cultural beliefs, the media, which can be a force for change or a force for actually causing stigma on mental health illness. Stigma can also come from ourselves, lack of understanding, and so on. Ray also explained what is the experience of stigma, and I'll just quickly mention what he went through, being shame, blame, secrecy, isolation, social exclusion, stereotypes, discrimination. Ray also talked about what could be done to tackle stigma. Now, Ray mentioned that connecting to others was a good start, being active, being curious, learning, and plus giving. Dr. Ray mentioned what can be done from the actual health professionals to tackle mental health stigma. Before I finish up on Ray's presentation, Ray spoke about his hero, Michel Foucault, who was a French philosopher, historian of ideas, social theorist, and also literary critic and philologist. However, Michel Foucault also explored the famous ideas into power relations and madness. Dr. Ray took a quote from Michel in an effort to explain the problem of power relations and reducing mental health stigma. And it goes like this: knowledge and truth are both linked to power. All are socially situated. The presentation finished with Ray stating who SLAM, that being South London and Maudsley, were working with in order to challenge stigma and improve mental health, well-being and awareness. I enjoyed Ray's presentation, and although some may not agree with some of Ray's findings, they'll be hard-pressed not to take some note that mental health stigma is still out there in society and needs to be tackled. Next up was Jane White, who spoke again a bit more about the project, and we were shown more slideshows off the wall. Jay explained more about mental health stigma and how far the project has gone into tackling the problem, but she did mention that there's still some ways to go. Jane White then introduced some of the volunteers, being David, Scott, Barbara, Carmen and Tony, who have taken their time to work with HearUs, and each of the volunteers are those with lived experience or those suffering mental health problems. Each volunteer who spoke were honest about what they suffered from and educated us, the audience, about how their mental health affected them, so in turn we could reduce our own prejudices. Unfortunately, I could not stay the whole evening, but before I left we heard from the director of Time to Change, Sue Baker, who congratulated all those involved in the project. Sue Baker spoke about how important we tackle mental health stigma and look to our own mental well-being. It has been a very busy time for Sue, and I'll speak a bit about that later. But as I close up on this video blog, I could not help but to stay for some good old-fashioned British fish and chips provided by HearUs Reach Out Challenge, and it was a shame that I missed what was to come later that evening, being poetry from Sarah Mine, more music from Raw Sounds, more presentations from the HearUs media team, and some more from Croydon's finest. The event was a great evening of celebration, and I feel we need to celebrate mental health projects and partners by raising awareness, writing about the events, which is what I do, or blogging about them. I hope you enjoyed listening to my video blog, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you for listening.